Everybody, this is Grant Sparks of the Grant Sparks Show, and today I'm announcing that I'm doing goal setting completely differently for 2025, and I recommend you look at this method as well. Now, I'm testing this thing. Good morning, Nicole. I'm testing this new approach to goal setting for 2025. It's an amazing new process, and for those who know me, I take my goal setting pretty darn seriously. I make sure that I take a retreat. I make sure that we set these quarterly goals. I make sure that you have goals in your fitness and health, healthy, happy relationships, work you love or your life's work, or spirituality and personal growth. But this year, I'm challenging myself, as I do every single year or every single moment that I'm breathing, to take a new approach to goal setting in 2025. We're going to talk about that real quick. Billy says, my man, much love and appreciation. Keep at it. Thank you so much, Billy. I hope you're doing fantastic. I'd love to talk to you about wholesaling. Let's talk about some real estate this year. Vet girl, there she is, Gina Bullock. So this year, a totally different approach to goal setting. We're going to be talking about it. I'm going to be talking about why we're talking about a totally different approach to goal setting. And maybe you're going to resonate with this a little bit. But first, before you do anything, if you are on this call, you are required by the laws of the universe to get a warm cup of coffee and express your gratitude. I want to hear what you're grateful for. I will share. I don't care if you're watching over here on the Insta. I don't care if you're here and all the other places we go. I want you to take a second. This is your moment of the day, of the week, to tell me what you're grateful for. Let's do it. I'm grateful for my drive, my friends. I'm grateful that every single day I get my butt out of bed and I've got drive. Now, I don't naturally have drive. A lot of people think it's natural, and it's not. Those who are closest to me in my life know that I deal every single day. I take about 5 or 10 minutes laying in bed. I generally get up, maybe not 10 minutes, but definitely 5 minutes, where I decide whether or not I even want to get out of bed today. And it's nearly every single day. And I go through this ritual in my brain and put my feet on the ground, put my shoes on immediately. I put them right by my bed, put my shoes on immediately. And by then I start clicking in and going, no, I got a purpose. And that purpose is you. Your mission is my mission. My mission is that you achieve your mission. That's what I got. So today, you guys know that I'm always exploring better and better ways for myself. I'm synthesizing a ton of information, and we've come up with a new process for goal setting. But that's what I'm grateful for, is my drive. If I didn't have it, I don't think I'd get out of bed most days, honestly. What about you? What are you grateful for? Billy says, I'm grateful to be connected this past year with people who are more successful and learning from the experience of others. Billy, I pray for this for myself this year. I need to be surrounded personally and intimately with people who are far further down the road than I am. I've got to level up this year. So I am grateful that you've had this day and learning from the experience of others, because of being someone they trust and like and want to work with. Man, how did you find those people? We need to know, because I've been desperately trying to level up. And what I realize is I own that I'm probably my own worst enemy here, where I'm putting people off somehow, especially the next level of people. And I need to get into a state where I'm attracting people, offering value, offering trust, being trustworthy, that sort of thing. Nicole says, good morning, Vet Girl. I hope you're doing fantastic. Let's talk about why I think some people need a new approach to goal setting. Now, for those who don't know, in the past, and if you've read my book right there, The Top 100 Dream Igniter, I download everything that's kicking around in my brain once every year, at least once every few years, if I really get pent up, and I just capture all my wants and desires and needs and the things I absolutely believe should be done in this earth. And I just get radically overwhelmed, because I feel like not all this stuff that I see and think and want to produce will ever get done, because my brain runs a mile a minute, but I still am emotionally attached. I think a lot of ADHD people are emotionally attached to their ideas. They believe that the thought they had is valuable to themselves and the rest of the world. And they start to have a shutdown when they start to feel their time, energy, or money is limited in producing those outcomes, or maybe even their own skill sets. So I developed my own system, the Top 100 Dream Igniter. On Instagram, you can't see it. It's just off camera right there. It's the Top 100 Dream Igniter. I'm very proud of it, but it needs to be updated because A, I've learned a lot. B, the metaphors are growing a little old. But C, I think there are new problems that people are facing. And so today I found and stumbled upon another goal-setting framework that I want to share with you that I think is phenomenal. And the problem is this. Most of you are starting to settle into your lives. If you've been on this journey with me for any length of time, we're about in the same cohort of age. And whether you're settling down with kids or whether you're settling down with your business or career, you just want to get traction. And when you think about setting big goals, the idea of upsetting the apple cart, the idea of upsetting all the systems you've put in place to get to just barely where you're at today, and the idea of, well, if I set a big goal to hike Mount Everest or Mount Kilimanjaro, I've got to go there and there's going to be a massive interruption in my little business that I've been building or working on. And I'm trying to make more money and I'm trying to, create a good retirement for myself. And if I set too big of goals, if I suddenly pivot and decide I want to move to the Maldives and surf for the next 2 years, which is a goal, it's a desire in me. What's going to happen to my businesses? And do I have to start all over? And the people that encourage you go, yeah, you will, but go do it. And you go, yeah, but you're not going to take care of me when I hit retirement age. So these fears and concerns begin to step in as our lives get settled. Some of you have kids. I know Billy has a wonderful family. I know Nicole has a wonderful family. And when these people are growing up and you want to invest in their life, setting too big of goals can seem daunting and overwhelming. So when Grant comes along or someone like me that says, set big goals, suddenly you begin to be overwhelmed and you start to wonder, am I really just not cut out for big goal setting? Am I really not capable of setting big goals? No, the truth is that you are just simply torn between what's going on right now and the responsibilities you have and the desires on your heart. And so there's got to be another goal setting framework that encourages you that you can actually achieve alongside living up to your responsibilities. And so I will preface this by saying this is not my own framework. I did not come up with this framework. I stumbled on this framework and I cannot encourage it enough. Now, like I said, I've got my own systems and I'm going to continue. My life is given to helping people. Again, my mission is helping you accomplish yours. State of the Spark is about igniting lives of explosive significance. That's my mission on this earth. That's what keeps me going. So I will continue to refine versions of this. But this year, in an effort to level myself up, I am committing to a new system, and it is by Jesse Itzler of the Big Ass Calendar. Now, if you've paid attention to the internet at all, if you've seen some of my posts last year, the lovely Marissa gave me the Big Ass Calendar and I utilized it last year a little bit. I got a new one this year and it's been revolutionary for me. It's been revolutionary for my partner, Nicole. We've had a lot of great success just being able to glance at the calendar and realize how limited, our time is on this earth, but how few things we can really focus on when we get new opportunities. It's been powerful. And then I stumbled on a video from the same founder of the Big Ass Calendar, Jesse Itzler, and his framework for goal setting. Let's talk about it. Jesse Itzler has 3 parts to his goal setting structure. Number 1 is the Japanese art of Misogi, and I'm going to tell you about that here briefly. Number 2 is something he calls Kevin's Rule, and I really love Kevin's Rule. It's very encouraging, very inspiring, and very doable. And a third principle just is quarterly habits. And let me break these down for you. First and foremost, the cornerstone of Jesse Itzler's framework for goal setting in a single year is the Misogi. Now, the Misogi is a Japanese Shintoist. Fish Uber says, I like the Japanese art of wa. Like, I would love to know what this is, Fish Uber. Is it like Wu Wei or Wa? I need to look into this. This sounds very interesting to me. Wu Wei is another one that I'm aware of, but I'll look into this one. Thank you very much, Fish Uber. So the Japanese Shinto principle is a purification ritual of Misogi. Now, let me read you the traditional one real quick. It involves washing the entire body. Shinto Buddhists would do this. It involves immersing yourself in cold water. Honestly, it's an origin likely of cold plunges or standing under a waterfall. It dates back to the 8th century. It traditionally involves making a pilgrimage to one of the icy waterfalls you sit under. Very powerful stuff. But modern Misogi has evolved a little bit. And modern Misogi is all about the same things as principles, but it's about confronting your fears and weaknesses and doubts. Good morning, Strands of Rain. I hope you're doing fantastic. Love your socials. So the modern art of Misogi is this idea of purification, but it's confronting your fears. It's relinquishing old habits and shedding old beliefs. It's embracing a new, more powerful version of yourself. It's developing new coping strategies. So here's how Jesse Itzler applies this. Strands of Rain says, hey. I hope you're doing fantastic. So Jesse Itzler's application of the Misogi as far as goal setting goes looks like this. You set one pinnacle goal, just one, for the entire year. And it's usually a challenge of some kind. And I'll give you an insight as to what mine is here very shortly. It's something that you have fears and doubts about your weaknesses around, but something that if you achieved, you feel like it would provide some sort of fulfillment or some sort of breakthrough in other goals. I often call this a linchpin goal, but it's often very measurable. It's very specific. Well, I want to become a better father, better husband, better friend, better person. That's too general. It's an actual thing, a moment. So think in terms of a marathon. My first marathon, I was very petrified. I've only done some 5Ks. I haven't really done a half. That might be in my training, but the real goal is, did I do a marathon? And then your year begins to wrap around this misogi, this one thing. Now, to go from zero to Olympian might be a bit harder, but maybe this year it's a marathon, and maybe year 3, year 4, it's the Olympics or some other competition, but just one marathon. For me, for surfing, I absolutely have been pushing my own desire to the side to spend weeks in either Hawaii or Costa Rica or another surf destination that I absolutely love, and just unplug and go surf. That's one of mine. And a misogi would be putting my business in order so that I had the peace to go actually spend a week or 2 or 3 surfing, right? Or in terms of fitness, everyone knows that I'm deeply into fitness right now and bodybuilding, and maybe it's doing a bodybuilding competition. So a misogi is a single thing that if you did, you'd be proud of yourself. It's often physical in nature because you have to go do it. It has to go get done. Maybe Strands of Rain is competing for hair or extensions like she does. Maybe I don't even know what I see Jenny Brady there. Good morning, Nicole. I have no idea. Maybe Billy Weigel, maybe is getting into certain types of property this year that he's been afraid to engage with. A misogi is something that challenges you at your core to take the next level. Now, it is often encouraged that your misogi isn't just advancing business goals, unless business goals are kind of your sport, right? In Strands of Rain's case, in Strands of Rain's case, we know that she's deeply involved in extensions and hair. So maybe it is professionally oriented, but she would find deep fulfillment in maybe becoming a speaker at one of the major or the major event in her field. A misogi is a single focal point for that year that has a very finite endpoint and measuring. So here's 2 that I'm toggling between that I have not decided, but as an example for my own. Number 1, I have a desire to do a TED Talk. I have been a speaker my whole life. I have done a ton of speaking events, but the respect that I would have, the self-respect that I would have to not only be considered, but to be welcomed to speak at a TED Talk and then deliver that talk and make an impact with that talk, that would mean very much to me. So this is one I am considering. And the other, as I've said, is to actually put my business in delegate mode enough, empower Amber and my team and Nicole and John enough that they know what to do. They don't need me, and they're not even dependent on me now, but I feel like they are. So to get over my own internal humps at the point where the business was delegated enough that I felt comfortable, and when I left and came back, the business had sold something new, delivered something, and collected something, so it had grown without my presence at all. That would be such a release for me that I cannot describe it. So that's an example of a misogi. Real quick, Fish Uber over on Twitch says, Wa is a significant cultural concept in Japan, and it often influences how people interact with one another and view society as a whole. It emphasizes harmony, balance, and peaceful coexistence, which aligns with traditional Japanese values of maintaining social order and minimizing conflict. Thank you for that, Fish Uber. I'm going to go dive more into that. I love Japanese culture, especially philosophically, so I'm going to jump back into Wa. Thank you so much for sharing. So in Jesse Itzler's 3-part of goal setting, the first is misogi. I've gone into that in depth. Watch the replay if you want. Please look up Jesse Itzler, or I can share in the comments later the preeminent video that really set me off to actually share with this morning. The second concept is Kevin's rule. Now, Jesse Itzler is a multi-millionaire 7 times over. He started Marquee Jets. He was very successful in that. He was in the entertainment industry for a long time. He married the founder of Spanx, and they are a power couple in and of themselves. They've done a lot of really cool stuff. And so now he's coming up in social media because he's really passionate about helping people live their fullest life. So Jesse Itzler has a buddy called Kevin, and Kevin is the opposite of Jesse. Kevin is a normal guy. Kevin has a family, a normal job. They've been buddies forever. They hang out. And yes, this guy worth hundreds of millions of dollars hangs out with normal people like Kevin. Now, one day, Jesse and his family were out with Kevin and their family, and they were hanging out and they were camping in the middle of snow. And Jesse turned to Kevin and said, Kevin, your family seems so fulfilled. You seem so fulfilled. And I've been chasing money and business success and doing very well. And I'm a fun guy and I'm having a lot of good fun. But you guys seem living an average life, a normal life. You guys seem just as fulfilled, if not more, than I do. What's the secret? And Kevin said something very pragmatic, powerful. It impacted Jesse so much that he adopted it and even called it Kevin's rule. And the rule was this: every 8 weeks, you do something new with your loved ones or significant others. It could be found family, like friends. It could be your spouse or your partner. And it doesn't have to be grandiose. It could be every 8 weeks, you travel to some crazy new country, or every 8 weeks, you go on a new type of date to something you've never done. If you've never done axe throwing, you do axe throwing. If you've never done pottery, you go do pottery. But you can't do the same thing. That's the rule. But it's got to be something new. Is it a cold plunge in a stream in North Carolina? Sure, you've never done that before. Go for it. Think of these as micro misogis. These are little things every 8 weeks that you do that you've just never done before. Have you done dinner theater? No? Go for it. Have you done a comedy club? No? Go for it. Or take that trip to Nova Scotia and throw a snowball in Canada. When was the last time you did that? The goal of Kevin's rule is that you are always keeping up with micro adventures. And it gives your family something to build up towards, something to save money for, something to focus on. Now, for me, could it be business? Sure, but I've done some of that. Could it be real estate? Well, I've never flipped a property, but that's not one and done. It takes too much time. These are things that are usually activity driven that you've just never done before. Go start a fire in the woods and sit around and do s'mores with family. Maybe you've never done that. Maybe distill your own beer or your own whiskey or whatever it is. I know the world is big. And Kevin's rule ensures that you get at least 6 a year, things that you and your family have forever memories around that you just have never done before. So that's Kevin's rule. That's number 2 in Jesse Itzler's framework of goal setting. And myself, I have, here we go. Yes, Fish Uber says, please do not start a fire in the woods in California. Laugh my ass off. Yes, you're absolutely right, Fish Uber. I would not encourage that there. But if you're on the East Coast, sure, or whatever makes most sense. But I myself am starting to queue up my own 6 Kevin's Rules trips. And I need trips. And for me, it's mostly trip driven, but it's probably new countries, new destinations, or maybe even one will double up as my Misogi of spending a week or so surfing elsewhere. So I'm doubling up. And mind you, and I'll turn my camera here in a second for those on Instagram and on my computer. I'll turn my camera over and show you my big ass calendar before we wrap up real quick so that you can kind of see when you look at your calendar and realize, hey, someone's inviting you to take a Vegas trip. Have you been to Vegas? Is it any fun, really? I've done Vegas in my 20s and it was only so fun. Now, if someone said, hey, Grant, I want to go to Las Vegas to visit this one natural area where we're going to go hiking in the woods. Now, I hadn't done that. That might be it. But if it was between pursuing my Misogi of speaking for a TED Talk, which means if I had the time to get on an airplane and go to casinos and hang out in Vegas, what I'm not doing is spending time working on my talk, trying to network and connect with someone who could put me on a TED stage and go from there. This is my big Misogi this year. And so when I look at the big ass calendar, I can see, do I have my Kevin's Rules book and do I have my Misogi book? And here's the last one. And this is a super simple one. We all know, I think, about habit stacking. But in Jesse Itzler's framework of setting new goals, and the point of setting new goals often, hear me on this. This is going to bend your mind a little bit, and you might even not like this idea. But I've been doing goal coaching long enough to know this. Goal setting is not always about achieving the goal. It's about pursuing the goal and who you think you'll become in that pursuit. Because I will tell you, the most depressed people I have known in my life are people that had a big goal, achieved it, and had a big emptiness afterwards because they thought it would change their life. Now, yes, if you sold a business for millions of dollars and you never had that kind of money, yes, it'll change your life, but they're also depressed people. But what they found is that it was the pursuit itself. Brian Tracy said success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. One of my favorite definitions of success, the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Basically, success is in the pursuit itself of success. That's where the development comes from. So in the third part and final part of Jesse Itzler's goal setting framework, the third part is this: have a single habit that you focus on each quarter. And this is habit stacking. And the habit stacking will help you. Here, let me scroll down. I'm probably missing comments. There we go. Habit stacking happens anyway. Maybe we all know that we're supposed to drink 64 ounces of water a day, but we just don't. Literally, if the only thing you did from a personal development standpoint was pursue a Misogi, try to do one new thing every 8 weeks, and it could be super simple. Doesn't have to be complex. And once a quarter, built a new habit. Drinking enough water could be that habit. Getting to the gym could be that habit. Cleaning up your home every Saturday so that you feel normal and that your nervous system is regulated in your own home every single Saturday. And you do that for a quarter. Every single quarter, you add one new life-changing habit. Now, Jesse Itzler says this, at the end of the year, you're going to have 4 new habits. And when you know something about habit stacking, you know that it gets compounded very quickly. So if you think about this life, quite often I meet people in goal setting sessions and they have hundreds of goals. I personally have 243 goals in my goal list that I'm still pursuing. I need to prune it. I'm not going to pursue all of it, and some of it doesn't matter anything to me anymore. But people have more goals than they know what to do with. And as their lives get settled with kids and careers, setting big goals like I walk on the moon, believe it or not, I walk on the moon is one of my goals. Before I die, I want to walk on the moon. Crazy goal. And I can look at that every single year, but what can I do this year? I'm not going to apply to the Air Force. I'm not going to apply to NASA. I need to earn some money because maybe I could take a private SpaceX flight to space, maybe. And it is getting more affordable. But do I act on that this year? Of course not. I've got to maintain my business. I have responsibilities that I do ultimately care about. I got people I ultimately care about and want to take care of. And making too much of a disruption is a step too far for my personal relationship goals with most of them. So applying Jesse Itzler's framework, though, and Jesse Itzler says this, he says this quote, listen, if you achieved one major Misogi, something that frightened you, that faced your weaknesses, but also built you up, that you were super proud of, that was measurable, like a TED Talk for me possibly, or a life trip surfing for 3 weeks and writing that book, if you achieve that thing, that would be a milestone for you. And it's just one thing. Finishing that marathon that you've never done before, flipping that commercial piece of real estate that you had never done, pick a thing. 4 Strands of Rain, speaking at that industry leading event and getting that invite, 1 Misogi a year, 6 Kevin's rules, new things that you had never done before with loved ones or friends, and 1 habit a quarter. Jesse Itzler says, hey, I don't know if that's going to make you a billionaire, but that's a pretty full life if you do that every single year. If you start at the age of 40 and live to 80, that's crazy. That's something like 6 times 40 years. That's 240 unique experiences with your loved ones before you pass. That's 40 Misogis, huge things that are life-changing and milestone. What if you just wrote 1 book a year and that was your Misogi? Misogis don't have to be things you've never done before. That's Kevin's rule. So I was thinking about Jesse Itzler's framework, and I thought this. I have my own goal-setting process. Please, I would love to get your feedback on my book, The Top 100 Dream Igniter. Get a hold of it. I plan on updating it within the next 2 years. As I update it, though, I'm going to experiment this year. Ooh, Strands of Rain decided to share hers, hosting her own luxury hair extension retreat this summer in Miami. That's one big Misogi. And maybe there's financial goals around that, maybe not, but that's not the Misogi for Strands of Rain. Hers is to host it, to get people to come, to put on a luxury event for hair extensions as a retreat in Miami. Nicole jumps in and says, wow, I love it. That's why I do this. My mission is yours. My goal is to ignite lives of explosive significance. And if I can support people like Strands of Rain in any way, whether it's encouragement, coaching, support, heck, I'll carry her bags. A, because I love Miami. It's fantastic. But B, I love watching someone step into their greatness for one major Misogi. And so I'm going to reveal this to you, and I'm declaring this for myself today. This year, my goal-setting experiment is Jesse Itzler's framework. And I'll report back. Remind me if I forget, but I'm going to actually post. And as promised, for those on Instagram, let me show you the big ass calendar. Nicole already knows this. Marissa got me my first version. It's this big ass calendar. Let's go wide. Boom. The reason I love this is you see the entire year right away, and you see every single day, and you mark them off, and you realize, oh, I said, Vet Girl says she'll do it too. Thanks, Gina. Absolutely, she will. The reason I love the big ass calendar, and this is not a plug, I don't have an affiliate code here. It is a plug because I love it, but I don't have an affiliate here at all. And I probably should, but I swear by the big ass calendar now because I see the entire year, see how actually limited my time is. And I cannot tell you how many people I am beginning to say no to. And it's almost unnerving to me. Grant, I should go out and have lunch at 1961 and why? They don't line up with my Misogi, my Kevin's rules, or the 4 habits that I'm trying to build. And I love people, but I need to start really getting focused because as we hit our 40s and later, we start to get pretty serious about, wait a minute, I can do anything I want, but I can't do everything I want, at least not all at once at the same time. So that's food for thought today. Let me drop that on you. I'll drop a link. If you have questions, please reach out. If I can help you with your goals, you guys know I'm Grant, goal coach at grantsparks.me. I'd love to help you walk through some of your goals, fill in some of the gaps for you. But this is my experiment today. Hopefully you got something out of this. But no matter what you do today, remember the mission, igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have a great day.